Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing an update on our 1911 Franklin CycleKart. Okay, so we're back in the Vincent garage working on our 1911 Franklin. And since our last update, I've installed or fabricated and installed the swing arm for the engine mount and the torque converter to swing arm on, or to, have functional suspension. So I've got this pretty well started. I do have a few more pieces to add to it. I'm going to add some bracketry back here that'll mount here and go around and mount there. Pretty much using a piece of bent tubing, so it'll mount back here, and that's where we'll mount our brake caliper on. And anyway, I didn't film all this because really I can't even explain how difficult it is to come up with something completely scratch built. I've never done anything quite like this before, and attempt to film it and make it sound like we know what we're doing, because I absolutely do not know what I'm doing. So kind of catch you up on where we are right now. So the front of this, where it mounts to the frame, these are Renegade spindle brackets basically. So this is the weldment that welds to your, normally would be welded on a Renegade front end, and that's the spindle barrel and bolt. I just asked Mark to send me the barrel and the bolt with the bracket, and I'm using that as my swing arm. Got one on each side. Swing arm attachment rather. This is just 1-inch round tubing, medium wall, 0.90 thickness I believe. And I did fabricate some gussets on the back here. I was a little bit worried about this contact point to here and flexing and breaking that weld. I think the one in the front should be okay, but all the motor weight's back here. This is where the motor is going to flex and move, and I felt this needed to be gusseted. I may yet add a gusset or another tube from the bottom of the motor mount, maybe up to here rather, kind of to strengthen that. We're going to see if it flexes around too much when it's under load. I'm trying not to overbuild it. This thing's already pretty heavy. All this bracketry and stuff back here has a bit of weight to it. I'm not sure exactly how much, but it's not light. Let's put it that way. So the next thing to do, I'm going to go ahead and pull the motor out and show you what that looks like with the motor out of the way. Okay, so with the motor out of the way, you can see the Renegade motor plate there that I've welded in. Probably over welded it, but the motor plates take a tremendous amount of torque through the motor. And again, I may gusset this forward underneath the axle to one of those round tubes that's going to be back here. May do that just to give it some extra strength. You don't want any flex between the motor and your sprocket that tends to throw chains. So yeah, again guys, I'm sorry I didn't really film any of this, but I figured this is such a one-off. I doubt anybody's going to be copying this directly, because each one of you is going, if you're going to build something like this, you'll probably want to come up with your own solutions to the problems. And certainly it would be easier if this was not a functional suspension, if I just made it look like it had suspension. That would have been a whole lot easier. But my goal with this is to make it a smooth riding kart, because this was a 1912 Cactus Derby participant, the original car. I'm really building this with the eye on Wilcox. That if you ever watched our endurance races in Wilcox, a 24-hour event we do in Wilcox, Arizona in the vineyard, having a smooth riding kart would be fantastic. And of course, it does not have to be a speed demon, it just has to be reliable. So most of what I'm doing here is designed for reliability, to make it smooth and easy to ride, or drive rather. And yeah, so that's kind of what we're doing. And well, let's see what's next. I'm going to try to see if I can get those brackets figured out. Okay, so I've got the chassis upside down, and here's a better look at those spindle barrels repurposed for swing arm duty in the bottom of the engine cradle. I've reinforced it here, and I'm adding a tube here that's going to go back to these tubes that I bent. I've not welded this one in yet. These will double as additional support for the motor flex, plus a place for the brake calipers to mount. I'm probably gonna, well, the plan is to have two, one hydraulic brake foot actuated and one mechanical handbrake, just because, why not? So I'm going to weld this in next. It's really hard to weld and hold the camera at the same time. I've already welded this part here. Nice thing is, you want to, if you're doing any gusseting under your frame, you want to keep everything away from the holes for your nuts and bolts, because you don't want any interference there. So that's nice and square in the chassis. I've lined this back piece up on the axle, And you can kind of get it down where you can see it's almost parallel, almost completely parallel actually with the motor cradle. And that's good because that'll provide a little bit of a skid plate protection sort of thing if we do encounter any big rocks out there on the overland expeditions in the Desert Racer. Okay, so time to tack this little dude in there and see how she goes. Okay guys, so I got this tacked in place, actually a little more than tacked in place. This was fully welded on this side and up here and there on that side. So I'm going to flip the frame over now and weld the back side of it where I can't really get to it. It's hard to weld upside down under there. So at any rate, hope you guys can understand what I'm doing here and why I'm doing it. It makes sense in my little brain. The master cylinder is going to get mounted on a bracket attached to that, so that's the purpose of this whole thing here, to give some place to mount the brake hardware. All right, they're making progress. Okay, so there we go. The first tube is installed there with its support brace, and turned out pretty good, I think. Once I get all this done, I'll take it all apart and clean up these welds. A few of them have got a little bit of, see the splatter, the weld splatter on there, so we can paint that whole assembly. But my next task, I suppose, will be to get the caliper mounted on that. So that'll be next. So making progress. Okay, so working out where the caliper is going to mount. It's going to be on this top tube, which I've installed. It's exactly the same as the bottom tube. And kind of creating almost a cage around the sprocket and the disc brake assembly. So this one's on top, and it's a 3/4 inch piece of tubing. And what I've decided to do, bring it over here to the workbench, is I drew up a little template and I cut a piece of steel. This is a 3/4 inch hole. I'm going to slice this in half, and so I'm going to weld it. This will basically kind of go around the tube. And I got some 5/16 holes here for bolts, which will mount, well, it's not going to be on the side of it, but it's on, that blue line is where the rotor is at. It'll be on the back side, so essentially here, but it'll actually be back here behind the camera there. So at any rate, I'm going to go ahead and cut this Renegade bracket. I'm going to cut this little leg off. It doesn't need to be there. And I'm going to clearance this just a little bit so I can adjust this away from the rotor, because right now it's kind of rubbing on the housing. It's a little bit too close, a little bit of a friction fit. So I'll just notch this a little bit, get this whole assembly up a little. That'll raise the assembly up away from the disc brake. And this is a Yerf Dog caliper. I get these on Amazon. They're about 20 bucks. I like them because they're a dual piston. There's 2 pistons in there. You can see the backside, the pot's back here. And these work really good. I have this on the Viscount Vincent, and the stopping power is really, really good. It's nice big pads. And these are, you know, it's an inexpensive brake. That's the whole purpose of this. There's more expensive brakes out there, but for 20 bucks, that's about the most stopping power you're going to get for $20. And then this is the original Yerf Dog mount. This is I guess a used piece. I bought this one, I think it was from BMI Carts. Anyway, so Mark Parnell, I sent him one of these, and he came up with this kind of a modified mount. So it's got a threaded hole here, and it's just a regular round hole here. So this is, if you look at the original, just a round hole there, and that's a threaded hole for the bolt. The key with this is not to weld this into your chassis. If you weld this in the chassis, it's almost impossible to remove this when it's on the disc. So this is, the Yerf Dog was removable. These 2 bolts come off, the entire assembly comes off with the bracket. This will be the same way. So this bracket will be welded to the cart, this one will be welded to the cart, and bolted through here. So there'll be 2 bolts through this piece of steel, and that'll secure that to the chassis. So that's the plan. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to cut this in half and weld that onto this upper bar, right around here. So that's what we're working on, making some progress. Okay, I'm going to make a small correction here. This bolt is actually a 12 millimeter, not a half inch. Half inch and 12 millimeter, very similar, but it is in fact a 12 millimeter. And this is a 6 millimeter Allen head. So you'll need a 6 millimeter Allen key and a 12 millimeter wrench for these nuts and bolts. Half inch fits, but it will strip it later. So remember, that's a 12 millimeter. Keep you from stripping off the bolt there. Okay, making some progress. Okay, so I wanted to show you how I was getting this mocked up. So I've got a couple wooden shims holding the caliper against the rotor, and this thing will float basically. So you want to have a space in here. You want to have a little space here between the housing and the rotor itself. Just make sure you got clearance so that the rotor will spin freely and not rub on the housing of the caliper. And so I'm going to come along and put a tack on this piece of steel here and here. Remember, this piece has to be removable, so I can't weld onto there. So I might have to clearance this a little bit more so that I can weld around it and not interfere with this. You want to make sure that's plenty strong. But I do, of course, have the top piece that we cut off to weld onto there as well. That'll give it a little extra strength. At any rate, this is making some progress. Let's get a couple tacks on this thing. Alrighty. I wanted to share with you how I'm gusseting this. I just got a piece of scrap steel behind there, clamped in place. I got some rags covering up the vital bits I don't want weld splatter on. So I got that tacked in place, and that should be pretty good. So I'll go ahead and pull the clamps off. Let's see here. Try to do that with one hand. I'll hold the camera here. It's going to jostle around a bit. Sorry about that. Piece of steel is going to fall out of there. Yeah, so that's what that's going to look like. Of course, that's going to get fully welded on there. And yeah, I think that's going to be a pretty good bracket. Looks kind of cool. I'm not sure if this extra bit of metal is going to add any strength or not, but what the heck. It's worth the effort to make it look cool. All right, guys, more progress. Okay, so the caliper's back on and mounted. Looks pretty good. That'll work. Now I'm working on my mechanical disc brake. So that's what this is. And I've got it kind of mocked up here. I've got a piece of tubing that's already been bent. Same bend I used for these. I made 3 of these previously. I thought I might need 3, but I'm only going to use 2. So the third one I cut in half, and this works out perfect. It's going to create a brace right across here, and I'll make a bracket to mount the back of that. The way these mechanical brakes work, this bracket comes with it. So I've got a piece of steel, drill some holes to match up with it. We will weld this somewhere about here, and that will bolt the mechanical brake caliper to that, and we'll put a little gusset behind it. And this is going to be either cable operated or possibly with a cable or a rod. So this is the little pull rod right here. It's adjustable by that bolt right there. I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time holding this. And this right here is adjustable in and out. That's how you set your tension to set your brake pads on a mechanical brake. And I'm using the mechanical brake because I want a big old giant handbrake on this thing. I think that'll be pretty cool and period correct looking. So I'm going to go ahead and get this mocked back up. This is about to fall off actually. Get that mocked back up, line it all up, and put a couple tacks on it. And just make sure we got that exactly where we want it before I finalize it. And I'll make sure the engine clears all that. I did earlier in my mock-up, but we'll double check it before we final weld it. All right, so this is coming together. Okay, so I checked the clearance and the little bent piece did not work, so I'm gonna use an angled, just a straight bar across here and put it at a bit of an angle. You can see in relation to everything else there. So I've got it at clearance, everything's fitting. I checked the motor, it's gonna fit. I've beveled these a little bit so that they fit the bars a little better. So I'll tack these in place and tack it onto this piece of steel here. And we will have a mount for our mechanical brake. Okay, so that bracket is installed and the little flat piece is welded in here, just tacked in place. I'll have to take this all apart and weld it. Things are in the way right now to really get a good weld on here and here. I'm going to pretty much turn the whole thing upside down to be able to weld that, so I'll save that for when I disassemble it for paint. But this is tacked up, it's ready to go. So the way this works is this little adjusting screw right here. That's how you adjust your tension on your brake. This thing floats back and forth, kind of self-adjusts that direction. This is what puts tension on this little bar here. That's their pull rod. Go underneath the cart, you can see that better. Sorry, right here. This is what pulls, right? So you pull on this and that applies brake pressure to the caliper, to the pads, and braking power. So so this is a pull action. So I'll have to rig up a bell thing to pull this instead of push it. So it's a pull action. There are other brands that you can adjust to where you can flip it around. So you can make it as push and have it in the same orientation. So it would push and press it on that way. But this was not reversible. My first CycleKart had an Earhart brand mechanical brake, which this is almost a photocopy of it. But it is lacking the bolts to take the whole thing apart and flip that whole deal around. So on the other one, this one had a little bolt here and a bolt here. You could flip the whole deal around and reverse the orientation. So you could have it mounted in a place that made sense and still have, you know, options to either pull or push. This will be a pull, so it'll be a handheld, a hand-operated parking brake, an emergency brake. So that worked out pretty good. So in this video, we got both calipers installed. So yeah, so that's pretty good progress. I think we'll call that the end of this video. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for following along on this Franklin CycleKart build. If you have any questions about cycle carts or what we do here in the shop, feel free to drop me a note there in the comment section. Get out in the garage and build something cool.